Brilliant, it's great you could pinpoint her exact location. Guess you're not specialized for nothing. His words of admiration trailed off when the image came into focus. The figure standing in the picture wore full crimson body armor that looked as if it was wet with blood. The helmet, with the open face, looked like a swan's head. Bird feathers stuck out from either side. Decorations designed to look like wings draped across the figure's chest from its shoulders. Its waist was wrapped in a crimson skirt. In one hand, it held a strange, large spear that resembled a pipette or almost like a baster used for cooking. Sholtia Bloodfallen had acquired, among others, the Faith Magic Caster class most highly specialized in combat walk ray. This was her final combat form. Albedo raised an alarmed voice upon seeing Sholtia's weapon, the Pipette Lance. That's the god-tier magic item Lord Perorancino gave her. Aints also had god-tier items enough to fill all his gear slots with them, but that didn't mean they were easy to make. In Yggdrasil, players could enhance items by inlaying them with data crystals, but the crystals' monsters dropped varied wildly in level of performance. Creating a god-tier item required collecting multiple high-rare drops. Creating the vessel a weapon like a sword also required metal, so rare people called it super rare. For that reason, it wasn't uncommon to see level 100 players who didn't have a single god item. Even in Aints Ulgaun, one of the top 10 guilds, the NPCs were completely outfitted with god-tier gear. At most, they had 1 or 2 items, and Sholtia's was the Pipette Lance. The name sounded stupid, but its power was sinister. There existed a data crystal that would allow a percentage of damage dealt to return as healing for the one equipping the item. The Pipette Lance had specialized in that ability. I am going over there right away. Please wait. If Sholtia is fully outfitted, we can anticipate a battle on the spot. We must select some guards for you. We don't have time for that. If negotiations break down, I'll withdraw immediately. Lord Aints, please excuse the interruption. A woman's voice echoed in his head. It was Narbarl, whom he left in Rantel. Aints was a bit irritated at being contacted now of all times. What Narbarl? Right now he'd been about to say busy, but he stopped himself. He remembered what happened last night when he ended the message with Entoma. At the time, he hadn't thought there was anything he could do, but if he had acted sooner, maybe things would have been different. He could have left Enfira's rescue to Narbarl. This hint of regret brought back Aints' level-headedness. The NPCs respected him as their absolute, so it was easy for them to put the highest priority on his words, even if he misjudged the situation. That was why he had to do everything as carefully as possible, with a clear head so he made no mistakes. That's asking too much of a normal guy like me. He sneered at his holy decision-making skills and smiled wryly, thinking how impossible this all was. But then, sensing the retainer-like vibes from Narbarl across the message as she waited for her master's commands, he shuddered as if struck by lightning. What am I saying? I am Aints Ulgaun. I am the ruler of Nazarick, the one who goes by everyone's name. That's right, I am not Satoru Suzuki. Impossible, no. If I am going by this name, then it's something I just have to do. Never mind, it's nothing. What is it? It must be an emergency if you messaged me, right, sir? Actually, someone from the Adventurers Guild is asking for you. If it's about last night, have them wait. No, that can't be it. It must be something else, right? Yes. As you so wisely perceive, my lord. She spoke vaguely, and the following silence showed her hesitation. Eventually, she seemed to reach some kind of conclusion and continued. Another problem has come up that is unrelated to that one. It's a vampire issue. What? A vampire? His eyes moved to the crystal monitor, where Sholtia continued to stand stock still. Did they say something about it? Like maybe that it had silver hair or crimson armor? No, unfortunately, the one who came calling for you is only a messenger. They discussed details at the guild, so they want you to go there immediately. They said they've gathered a few adventurer teams already. The messenger is still waiting nearby. What should I tell him? Aints closed his eyes. Not that he had any, he just extinguished the flames in his orbits. Give me your opinion, Albedo. I got this message from Narbarl when he finished his explanation. She lowered her eyes for a few moments and then looked back up at him. Under the circumstances, since we were lacking information, there are pros and cons to either course of action. I don't think there's anything to do but choose according to your preference, Lord Aints. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with ignoring humans ain't, thanked Albedo, and contemplated his options. If he prioritized Sholtia, and something went horribly wrong, if he prioritized the guild, and Sholtia's status changed, when he imagined worst-case scenarios, they just got worse and worse. If his guildmates were there, they could have all decided right away by majority rule. But they were NT as the one taking care of the great tomb of Nazareth, and the one who had taken on their name, Aints had to make the decision on his own. He couldn't make up his mind, but then he did. Albedo, send someone to keep an eye on Sholtia. I am going to the guild in Rantel. When that's done, take me to Sholtia. Understood. Did you hear that, Narbarrel? Yes, sir. I'll tell the messenger you ray on your way. Okay, please do. Then sorry, Albedo, but I am heading out. All right. I will do as you said and send out a few minions. Thanks. Oh, and I am giving my ring to Yuri. I am counting on you to pick it up later. There was something he wanted to give the librarian, but he decided he didn't have time and used his ring to teleport away. The sisters were left alone in the room, and the atmosphere relaxed. As if she'd been waiting for that moment, Negrido's eyes twinkled with curiosity. So what is it? What did Sholtia do? Oh, it seems like she betrayed us. I can't believe it, really. Are you serious? I can't believe it either, but that's the conclusion we've reached. Then shouldn't you just kill her? From the looks of it, Lord Ain't doesn't want to do that, but yeah. He is so kind, no, he must have decided it could be a huge mistake to kill her without investigating the reason for her rebellion. Lord Ain't always takes those kinds of things into consideration. Negrido sighed, sounding both satisfied and unsatisfied. Got it. Well, until the minions you dispatch begin their physical surveillance, I'll keep an eye on her with magic from here. Thanks, Negrido. She judged the conversation had ended and was about to unleash the power of her ring when she realized it seemed like her sister wanted to say something more. When she was in her right mind, she was the type who said what needed to be said. There was only one reason she would hesitate to speak. Albedo didn't want to ask, but on the off chance it was about something else, she felt she had to. What is it, sister? I am not allowed to leave the ice prison, so I am not up to date. Is Spinel still doing well? Albedo thought I knew it. She regretted asking, but she continued the conversation without letting it show. Negrido, you shouldn't call her that. I hate her. Even if she was made by Lord Tabula just like us, no, she was created by a completely different process. She can't be trusted. No, Simone, sister, she is precious. To me it seems like you're being tricked. She is going to bring great misfortune on Nazareth. I would bet money on it. Well, we'll never see eye to eye on that. I don't believe she'll cause any harm. Oh, well, if the captain of the Floor Guardians has decided that, then I won't say any more. But do remember in your capacity as captain that I worry about it. Okay, I will. Albedo suppressed her sigh and teleported. Normally she would have laughingly dismissed Negrido's worries, but today they stuck in her mind like a thorn. Everyone created by the supreme beings was absolutely loyal. That is what she thought, but then Sholtia betrayed them. Did that mean others might betray them too? There might be a chance her little sister would rebel. She couldn't get the thought out of her mind. It could even work in her favor. When she appeared after teleporting, her eyes were in a trance. Lord Aints, my love, I am your loyal dog and slave, she declared to the man who was not present. Even if all of Nazareth turns against you, I will remain at your side. Okay, Momon, take any open seat. There were 6 men in the room. 3 were armed and brawny. One had stood to prompt him to sit robust but not armed. There was also a lean, nervous-looking man in a robe. Lastly, there was a portly fellow in the back. As Ain't sat down with all eyes on him, the standing man spoke again. First, allow us to introduce ourselves. I am the head of this city's adventurers guild, Pluton Ainzak. He was a man in the virile prime of his life. The vibes he gave off were those of a veteran soldier. Aints had no doubt that he was considered by all a brilliant warrior. And this is the mayor, Panasolai Gruz de Retenmera. Panasolai responded to Aints' slight bow with a brief wave of his hand. He was portly, no, to be direct. He was obese. There was a generous amount of fat around his abdomen, so much flesh gathered under his chin that it left onlookers in disbelief. With that much meat on his face, he looked like a depressed, overweight bulldog. His hair was thin enough that his head reflected the light. The hairs that were there had turned white. Nice to meet you, Momon. Due to a congested nose, he exhaled a fee-hee. Aints bowed to the pig-like man. This is the head of the Wizards Guild, Theo Rakishia. The extremely lean, nervous-looking man with a delicate frame bowed to Aints. And these three are, like you, some of E. Rantle's finest adventurers who responded to our summons. From the right is Igvaj, the representative of Team Kraugra. Next is Belot, the representative of the Celestial Wolves. And finally Moknak, the representative of Team Rainbow. The three men who were introduced all had impressive bearings, suitable to the mithril plates hanging around their necks. Their strength was palpable. The gear they had equipped, though junk from Aints' perspective, was better than that of most adventurers he had seen in town. All of them had different emotions in their eyes, but they all shared one thing in common: curiosity. Igvaj, representative of Team Kraugra, spoke in a stern voice while staring at Aints. First, I'd like to ask a question, Guildmaster Ainzak. I've never heard the name Momon before, but he must have performed quite a feat to earn a mithril plate. What did he do? There was a vague hostility in his voice, but Ainzak replied cheerfully, as if he didn't notice. He performed the deeds of taming the wise king of the forest, and yesterday, promptly resolving an incident in the graveyard. An incident in the graveyard. Instead of the puzzled Igvaj, it was Moknak, the representative of Team Rainbow, who raised his voice in surprise. You mean the incident involving the appearance of large numbers of undead? Fee-hee, your ears work fast, don't they? We got some troublesome news, so I had given orders to let out as little information as possible. Where did you hear about it? He kept making that stupid poo-hee noise throughout the conversation, perhaps because of his congested sinuses. And maybe because he was breathing through his mouth. There was almost no variation in his pitch. It felt as if he were reading prepreptured dialogue in monotone. Do excuse me, Mayor, I only happened to hear it, and would have trouble specifying from whom exactly. Naturally, I know none of the details. The two caught each other's eyes and smiled. Moknak plastically, the Mayor bitterly. That doesn't sound like the truth, but oh well. There are probably a lot of people who know there were undead on the rampage. Fee-hee, sorry to interrupt. No, it's no trouble, Mayor. Anyhow, the guild judged he was an adventurer worthy of a mithril plate. Based on that one thing, for resolving one incident, the ones who went through all the promotion exams aren't going to be too happy about that. Igvaj had done away with his courtesy toward Ainzak and was now openly hostile, but a cool voice came from the side. HMPH. Set him straight, Guildmaster. I too am dissatisfied with Sir Momon being mithril. Rakishia, the head of the Wizards Guild, had interrupted. There was something cynical in his expression, but Aints could see it was aimed more at Igvaj than himself. Somehow, that was lost on the target, and Igvaj smiled at Rakishia with goodwill. It seems like the head of the Wizards Guild agrees with me. Rakishia pressed his thin lips together in a sneer. Heh heh heh. It was as if he'd just heard something hilarious. There was no goodwill in his expression. His eyes were clearly filled with contempt. Oh, I think there's a big difference between you and me. Stop it, Igvaj. Some at the guild believe the deed he performed was orichalcum rank. HNGH. Igvaj's face was screaming. Of all the ridiculous nonsense. In response, Rakishia twisted his face into a derisive grin. Sir Momon, with a party of only three if you count the wise king of the forest, broke through a mob of undead estimated to be thousands strong, and defeated the man performing an evil ritual. That just shows how good he is at sneaking around. Rakishia sighed audibly. Honestly, I agree with you. If it were just that one thing, I wouldn't call Sir Momon orichalcum rank, but the remains of one of those undead proved his strength. He paused to gaze intently at Aints in his black armor. A skeletal dragon. That horrific monster has absolute magic defense, and he slayed it. Well, skeletal dragons are certainly strong, but a mithril rank adventurer could defeat two at once. What? The yelp of surprise went up from not only Igvaj, but also the other two adventurers. Something changed about the way they looked at Aints. It was as if they were investigators testing the depth of a lake. There were remains of two of them. Could your teams break through a mob of thousands of undead, exterminate two skeletal dragons, and kill the ringleader behind an unknown phenomenon, all in a short amount of time? Adventurers who went to the graveyard said they witnessed strong, undead-like soul-warping wraiths. Could you walk into those jaws of death? Igvaj bit his lip and said nothing. I'll ask you something else. We are told that only one other person was in Sir Mommon's party, a woman. She is a caster and would therefore be powerless against skeletal dragons with their absolute magic resistance. With that in mind, could you, with a party of only 2, well, 3 if you count the wise king of the forest, accomplish all that? Rakshia bowed his head slowly to Aints. As a resident of this city, Sir Mommon, I thank you. If you hadn't moved as swiftly as you did, who knows how many victims there would have been? This is only my personal thanks, but if you ever need anything, please let me know and I'll do my utmost to support you. There's no need, Guild Master. I merely resolved the incident at the request of Mrs. Baylor. Hoo, Rakshia laughed. It was an emotional laugh. I really do believe you deserve the rank of Orichalcum, or even Adamantite. To accomplish such a feat with such small numbers, and then to remain humble about it, you say it as if it was all a piece of cake. Rumor has it your partner can use up to tier 3 magic, but that can be true, right? I thank you for the compliments, Aints said, but I'd rather not reveal our hand. Ah, how unfortunate. Aints and Rakshia smiled at each other. In response, Igvar's face reddened as he raised his voice. If we had all worked together, we could have taken care of it. Having a small team is their problem. They probably just have personality issues that make it hard for them to keep members. The air in the room was heating up when the stupid fee-hee breathing noise cut in. How about you leave it at that? We didn't gather you here to fight. Igvar, deflated, sat down with the fee-hee that followed. His angry eyes were still pegged on Aints. The guild masters shook their heads at him. Sheesh, you value strength, so I understand how you feel, but that's not what we're here to discuss. Let us get this problem solved quickly. Thank you, Mayor. I don't know what the issue is, but do continue. I am eager to hear the details. Yes, I should have reported to you sooner. Don't worry about it. I was a bit busy with some business concerning Stronov. He puffed out his chest. Then let us get down to before that. Wouldn't it be the bare minimum of etiquette to remove one's helmet? Igvar derailed the conversation again, and the bite in his voice made it irritating no matter how right he was, to the point where the other adventurers frowned slightly. No, I think this time he's right. That is a bit lacking in courtesy. But Aints himself coolly removed his helmet and revealed his fake magic face, a plain face that would never get cast in a leading role. Since I come from a foreign country, I'd rather not invite trouble, so I keep my face hidden. Please forgive me, I meant no disrespect. A foreigner, that's enough, Igvar. Adventurers who protect people from monsters have no borders. It's embarrassing to have to mention that unwritten rule to a man in the same profession. A reproving voice rose against Igvar. Realizing everyone in the room shared the opinion, he reluctantly fell silent. Simply due to being from a different country, I often attract many stares. Aints' clever words caused several present to smile wryly. Igvar's face was splotchy with anger, but no one complained when Aints put his helmet back on. Now then, I pray we will have no further disruptions. I'd like to address our main topic. Someone was late, so we haven't heard it yet. That was my fault. I do hope you'll forgive me. Aints bowed and gave a serious apology this time. Even he had memories of being an office worker and having to repress his desire to go home because the meeting couldn't start until all members had arrived. He understood their feelings all too well. His genuine apology must have seemed to have a lot of integrity compared to Igvar, with his pronounced hostility and repeatedly cynical remarks. Someone emitted an admiring ah, and Igvar frowned harder because he realized how far everyone's opinion of him had fallen. But there was someone more upset than Igvar. That really is enough. If you derail our conversation any further, I'll have to ask you to leave. It was naturally Ainzak speaking. His eyes openly blazed in fury, and his mild manner from before had faded. On the other end of his glare was, of course, Igvar. Igvar gave a slight bow in apology. Seeing the sincerity in his eyes made Aints wonder. Considering all the hostility he has been aiming at me this whole time, it wouldn't have been strange for him to now act like a rebellious middle schooler. So why did he back down? After thinking for a bit, Aints reached what he felt must have been the answer. What kind of reputation would being the only one sent out of a gathering of mithril plate adventurers bring about? People might think that he'd been deemed useless and turned away, even if it was untrue. Then his standing among adventurers would drop like a rock. First, in brief 2 nights ago, Adventurers patrolling the highway in the environs of Rantel encountered a vampire. 5 of them were killed. That vampire is why I gathered you here today. Hearing the description of the monster, Aintz's hopes were dashed. The surviving adventurers were so terrified, they remembered the vampire's clothing and hair only vaguely, but apparently the impression of silver-haired with a big mouth had stuck. It may have been vague, but for someone who knew Shaltia, it was easy to associate this description with her. Aintz was now certain of the vampire's identity. How did this happen? He really had no idea what was going on. Well, he'd have to adjust the survivors' memories, or there'd be trouble.